Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to another video. It is finally time to set this up, get it running, put some fish and shrimp and a few other things in it, put a little bit of decor in it to make it look interesting, and do the draw. Thank you very much for your patience. This build has been ongoing for about a month now, and you guys have supplied with me wonderful comments and suggestions and everything, and I truly do appreciate all that, and definitely thank you very much for everything that you had to say and do. Unfortunately, I can't build, a bunch of these and mail them off to a bunch of people. There only can be one winner, and that's actually unfortunate. I actually probably should build smaller builds, but hopefully whoever wins this will have a lot of fun with it, and hopefully also it will work for them. To that end, I am putting together this little video in backwards, actually. I've already had it running, and I've had everything in it, and then I took everything apart, of course, for packaging and to dry it off and whatnot. You'll actually notice there's a little bit of moisture still on this because it hasn't quite dried perfectly yet. But whoever wins this is going to need to be able to put it together, and so I put this video together to, kind of just like be a visual manual for this. It goes together quite easily, and I tried to make aspects of this as simple as possible. And as far as most of this goes, it will be in these pieces. Of course, when I actually do mail this, it's going to be in a nice insulated box, and each of these pieces will be wrapped up, and I will try and make it as cushioned as possible, because obviously if it doesn't get there in one piece, it is all for naught. So this is, like I said, this is very straightforward, but it's always easier to have a visual for this. One of my thoughts, if I had a bit of time, I was going to drop those funny cartoons, the ones that you get in those big box store things when you're trying to put stuff together, slot A and part B and all that sort of stuff. But I don't have that kind of time, and I think it'd probably end up being more annoying than anything else, so this will have to suffice. So while I finished doing this, I want to thank everyone. I mean, I started doing this, and initially I just wanted to inject some more interest for myself into maintaining things. I mean, building and maintaining aquariums for a very long time, and this is my way of making it interesting again. And the fact that you guys like watching this is much appreciated. I really couldn't express that enough. I actually read all the comments, I answer them, I actually get a lot of ideas. That's a neat thing about doing this sort of thing, because I got fresh thoughts and fresh ideas on how to do things, and that's actually kind of cool. I really do like that. It is the kind of thing that keeps me interested in all this. So thank you very much for everything. I mean, I do appreciate all that, and unfortunately, like I said before, I can only afford to build one of these. I wish I could build more and send them off, but these things cost money, and I make a little bit of money off of YouTube, but not enough to pay for these sorts of things. So anyway, there it is. It's put together. All I really need to do is add some water. And as I said before, this is done in reverse order. So I'm just going to take this all apart again and put it in a box and all wrapped up and everything. And when I pick the winner, as long as they live in the States or Canada, I will send that off to them, and they can set it up however they wish. It is very modular. None of this has to be together. It's just set up this way because, as someone said, I wanted to build a better mousetrap or bigger mousetrap. I'm not sure which way that went. This is a little bit more complicated than it need to be, but it's kind of cool looking. One of the problems I had when I set this up, though, is everything I have, all the decor I keep and whatnot in stock, is for much larger builds, as you can tell by this piece of driftwood here. So I had to slice a little piece off, because I wanted to put a little bit on, you can see in the far right chamber there, I wanted to have some moss on that and whatnot and have it drip down that, and the only way I could do that is I had to cut a piece off. One of the things I don't really like about doing this sort of thing is, I can't let this run for any length of time. I'm giving this to somebody, and I don't think they wanted it all scratched up and, full of algae and other things, so I only ran this for 3 days. I wanted to make sure it obviously holds water, and I want to make sure it runs everything. I want to make sure everything works properly, and that way unfortunately, none of the plants are going to grow, none of the fish are going to get accustomed to their surroundings, all that sort of stuff. It has just been put together long enough to make it look, clear and make sure everything works. I mean, this chamber here on the right, I think would be really cool with a little cap on it to keep it high humidity and have those plants grow really nicely. I mean, you can stick pothos down there, or any of the submerged or immersed plants. There's so many things that can be done with this, but unfortunately, there's time restraints just don't allow that to happen. So this is just something I threw together in about 5 minutes, and then I obviously took the footage, and then I just took it all apart again, put the fish back where in the aquariums they came from. These are the guppies and platies I've been raising. I think I've been in a couple of videos lately, just for the new system and some of the new filters I've been doing. I figured they deserve to be in here because they've grown up quite nicely. And these are just shrimp that are pretty much everywhere in every tank I have. And then obviously you see a few ram's horn snails. The other thing I want to mention at this point, because I just noticed it, you'll notice the bottom is blue. That's just because I left a protective coating on because I didn't want that to get all scratched up. That obviously can come off, and of course if you want to leave it on, that's fine too. And obviously you can put gravel and you can put all kinds of filtration stuff in this, but none of that really matters. If you're keeping this as a low impact tank with just a few fish in it, the plants and everything will do most of the filtration for you, so you don't really need it. Now, as far as the draw goes, I went through all the videos where this tank showed up, and then I just took notes of everybody, and then I randomly selected an individual. It was just, like I said, random draw. You've seen me do tons of before. And I said it only can be one person, and that winner is New York Gold. Congratulations. I mean, like I said, I'm doing these randomly. I'm not trying to pick favorites or anything. There's a couple people who didn't want to be in the draw, or weren't subscribed to the channel, or lived in other parts of the world where I couldn't really ship something this large. But this is it. This is done. Like I said, thank you very much. I'm going to dry this all off, get a hold of the winner, and make sure that they want it. If not, I will do a redraw, and I'll announce a new winner, but I don't think that's going to come up. So anyway, congratulations, and thank you very much for everyone else for taking the time. Like I said, I am going to have other draws. I haven't decided once I get to 10K. This is pretty much the 9K and 10K draw. I'm at I think 9.8 or something right now. This is going to be that. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue these at when I get to 11, if that ever happens. But I do want to do other draws. I have yet to decide whether or not I want to do that Patreon thing, which would be included as ballots for draws. All that's still up in the air. I'm going to think about it, and hopefully as the fall progresses, we'll see how that goes. And I had a lot of support for it, and I think it'd be kind of a cool idea, so I think I might do it, and we'll see how that goes. The hard part for me, though, is always finding time. I have a lot of tanks I have to maintain and clean for everybody, and it's just not really feasible sometimes for me to take on an extra build, but if I can incorporate those builds into videos as well, then that does make it a possibility. So we'll see how that goes. Most likely, if I do go through with that, what it will be is I would take suggestions and then do builds for those suggestions. I mean, I do get a lot of people setting up, say, hey, try this, see how this works, that sort of stuff. The only thing you have to keep in mind, of course, it has to be something that I can mail. So unfortunately, I can't really build things out of glass and send them to mail. It's just way too heavy, and of course, it's not the kind of thing that can survive impacts on that. But anything out of acrylic or other materials that are similar, like I do a lot of work with metal and plastics of different kinds. So hopefully we can make something along those lines work, and then those builds would be part of the video structure, and then that way I wouldn't have to really make more time. But anyway, that's all for future stuff. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, congratulations again to New York Gold. Like I said, you've been a long time supporter of my channel, and I'm actually kind of glad that you got this. So that's kind of cool. And I'll be in contact with you. And thank you very much for everybody. And we will see how things go. And like I said, thanks again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.